Welcome, scholars. This is lesson 6-2.4. Two more Ninja Turtles. Today, we're going to be learning just about how Splinter was able to get these four mutant turtles together and really save the world from some of the most. Wait, no. That's not what we're doing. We're talking about Renaissance artists. That's what we're doing. All right. Okay. Two more Ninja Turtles, two more Renaissance artists. Here we go. Today, we're going to be focusing on two masters of the Renaissance, Michelangelo and Raphael Sanzio. These guys were incredible and produced so much work and are really two of the best painters of the Renaissance. And more than that, they're considered to be amongst the best artists of the last 500 years. These guys created dozens of highly recognizable pieces of art that were noticed, recognized immediately in their time as being incredible, and still hold on to that today. Chances are, as we go through today's lesson and we look at a number of the things that they've done, you will recognize several of these pictures. And chances are you never necessarily knew that they were Michelangelo or they were Raphael. But after today, you'll know that these two geniuses were something more than Ninja Turtles. Let's look at Michelangelo to get started. Michelangelo is probably the more famous of the two, almost definitely the more famous of the two. And that's because he did a lot more than just the painting. He was also a sculptor. In fact, this is where he got his start, was working on sculpture. And one of his most famous pieces, Michelangelo's David, is a beautiful piece of sculpture done by this man. Now, the interesting thing about him is that he wasn't supposed to be an artist. He wasn't supposed to be a sculptor. His father wanted him to have nothing to do with the arts. But this guy, right here, do you remember him? Lorenzo de' Medici? He's back. He's going to convince Michelangelo's father to let him become a sculptor because he sees the talent. And if you remember, Lorenzo de' Medici is all about the Renaissance and making Florence a place where art thrives. And here he has Michelangelo living in Florence with such potential. Let's let him sculpt. Well, Michelangelo will sculpt David while he is in Florence. And as I said, it becomes one of the best known pieces of sculpture ever created. It's marvelous in its detail. It's also huge. Michelangelo's David stands well over 10 feet tall. I wish I could remember exactly how tall it is, but I want to say it's close to like 16 feet tall. Michelangelo's David is a huge sculpture, and it's incredibly detailed. I'm going to focus in on just one area for a second. This is just the hand of David, and notice the attention to detail. We've got the veins, we've got the creases and the knuckles. This is a level of detail in sculpture that just wasn't seen anywhere at this time, and Michelangelo's got it down. Now, the Sistine Chapel is his most famous painting. He was asked in 1508 by the Pope to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel is a chapel within the Vatican. And he was asked to come in and paint the ceiling and to do that entire work. And while doing this work, he did another one of his most famous works here, The Creation of Adam. It's the centerpiece of the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Now, this work is huge. It's immense. It's all of these paintings, of which The Creation of Adam is just this one. It takes him 4 years to do this. Now, this is 4 years of laying on your back on scaffolding, doing a ceiling. Think about the work that would take. It includes over 300 figures. It really is one of the greatest masterpieces of art history. It's a monument to artistic genius. It really is a fantastic piece of work. And if you ever have the opportunity, if you're ever in Rome, go and see this. It will take your breath away. This guy really was incredible. Yes, and Lorenzo de' Medici, you can claim some credit here. You found him. Thank you for doing that. And Michelangelo's kind of got a good point there too, though. Who gets the credit here? The one who found him or the one who does the work? Debate point for you scholars. Tom Brady, one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time, possibly the greatest. How much credit should be going to the guy who said in the 6th round of the draft, hey, that Tom Brady, we should get him? Think about it. Chew on that for a little while. We're going to move on. St. Peter's Cathedral. Oh, this building right here. Another gem. If you're ever in Europe, please go see this. It is really something that is worth your attention. Michelangelo is late in life. If you remember, the Renaissance kind of leaves Florence after the death of Lorenzo de' Medici and goes to Rome, and Michelangelo follows. And while he's there, and he's older now, he's asked to design the new St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome, this building right here. The cathedral is one of the greatest structures built in the Renaissance. It is huge. It is detailed. It is an incredible piece of architecture. Now, Michelangelo has a part in his design, but of course, this structure takes years and years and years, decades and decades to complete. Michelangelo is not going to be there for the end of it, not even for the middle of it, barely for the beginning of it, but he does have a role in its initial design. And it becomes this symbol of the Renaissance and is, to this day, the largest Christian church in the world. The thing is huge. And that is Michelangelo. Let's look at our other Ninja Turtle. We got Raphael. Raphael was best known during his life for his religious paintings. Almost all of his work, not all, but almost all of his work has some religious quality to it. He liked doing, in particular, paintings of the Madonna and Child, that is, Jesus and his mother, Mary. These were done in many different scenes, in many different settings, slightly different styles throughout his career, but again was a theme that he returned to again and again and again. Very religious in its nature. However, he learned important things from humanism and from these Renaissance painters that came before him. He learned how to depict the real world. And interestingly, one of his most famous paintings, The School of Athens, a painting which I've shown several times in our lessons, is not overtly religious in nature. It shows a whole bunch of ancient Greek philosophers, a whole bunch of pagans, people who were around before there was Christianity. The history behind that is very interesting, and if you want to study into Raphael and his thinking behind this painting, I encourage you to do so. But it is interesting that his best-known painting is not something that shouts Christianity at those who see it, even though it is located in the Vatican. Raphael. Influences. Oh, he's friends with Ninja Turtles again, I see. Okay. So he studies the work of Leonardo and Michelangelo. Yep. Okay. That's good, except for this Leonardo. Yeah. And this Michelangelo. Okay. So he's learning from these other greats. He's learning from these other giants of the Renaissance and taking in their knowledge and expertise. And through what he's learned from them, the anatomy that he gets from those dissections that Da Vinci was doing, and all that realism put into their art, really helps his paintings to come alive. And he is considered to be one of the greatest painters of all time for all the right reasons. And it does show, interestingly, how a religious painter, and Raphael was a religious painter, whereas Michelangelo and Da Vinci were not as tied to religion. Raphael really was, but he had learned from the humanist movement. And elements of humanism became very important to him developing his genius. Well, that's all for today, and those were our Ninja Turtles. We had all of them. Wait, no. There are 4 Ninja Turtles. We got yeah, sorry, Donatello. Yeah, we're not really going to get into you. You were cool. You were a Renaissance artist too. You had some influence. You did some important things. You were a sculptor. You just weren't as good as Michelangelo. Here's some of your work. This is a bronze of David, done by Donatello. Definitely a great artist. But yeah, sorry, you just didn't make the cut for today. All right, well, maybe your crime fighting career will go a little bit better. Scholars, it's been great. I'll see you next time.